If you want to completely rid yourself of internalized feelings of inferiority and build unconditional foundational confidence, remember one phrase: shoot the arrow first, then draw the target. Essentially, a person's internal inferiority and external people-pleasing both stem from the desire to hit others with the arrow in your hand. The pre-drawn target is filled with various standards set by the outside world: what path you should take, what you should do, who you should become, why you should become friends. Once you believe these standards, predefine yourself. The place where the arrow lands corresponds to a score, all based on standards set by others. Any landing point outside that small circle is seen as a miss, which means wasted effort and total failure. The next time you take up the bow, your mind will uncontrollably replay those wins and misses, preventing you from focusing entirely on the arrow at hand. You start hesitating, your posture becomes unstable, your breathing disordered, your hands tremble, your strength starts to slacken, and then you miss again, a vicious cycle until you lose the courage to draw the bow once more. In fact, hitting the bullseye every time is very simple. It doesn't require years of practice. Just stand up, draw the bow, and shoot the arrow, then walk to the wall and draw your own bow, one that belongs solely to you. This target is your self-feedback mechanism. It can help you completely eliminate the helplessness of inferiority, find your true value from the ground up, and build a complete self. The purpose of establishing a self-feedback mechanism is not to foster blind confidence, nor to see every random landing point as a bullseye and think you are infallible and omnipotent. The process of establishing self-value is actually the process of building both spirit and flesh, requiring you to gradually discover your inner standards. Through these standards, you identify what is truly important to you, and in this process, objectively assess your abilities and results, thus rationally recognizing your value. People with a self-feedback mechanism have clear self-action standards and value judgment standards. They do not live under the gaze and evaluation of others, nor do they swing between extreme inferiority and extreme arrogance. This is the underlying logic of having a stable core. So, how do you establish your own self-feedback mechanism? The first step is to list your goals and establish your own scoring system. These goals cannot be external expectations or demands from others. They must be things you genuinely want to achieve, changes you want to make, abilities you want to acquire. The goals must be clear, specific, and quantifiable. You can refer to the SMART principle. Using the highest goal as a reference, set different levels of outcome expectations and assign different scores. This step is crucial because people without a self-feedback mechanism often have a flawed mindset. I must either succeed or fail. I am either 100 points or 0. The purpose of this step is to learn to accept your imperfection, allow yourself to make mistakes, and give yourself feedback. The second step is to eliminate emotional interference. Based on factual results, objectively score yourself, referring to your initial scoring chart, and switch from an athlete's perspective to a judge's perspective to give yourself a fair score. As long as you can score yourself, you can free yourself from others. Evaluation systems and more easily accept any results you achieve. Achieving 90 points is already very impressive. 80 points is also commendable. And even if it's 60 points, that's sufficient. As for others expecting you to score 100 points or be first place, those are their expectations. You don't need to be responsible for others' expectations. The third step is to create your own improvement plan based on your scores. This requires a detailed review of the situation to find directions for optimization, iteration, and continuous action. First, summarize what specifically happened, the course of events, and the outcomes. Then analyze what you did right and what could be improved. Finally, if you were to start over, identify the areas for improvement, the skills you should have in advance, and any actions not taken last time that can be done now. By continuously cycling through these three steps, you enter a process of upward spiral. You will no longer let the definition of new authority be handed over to others. This is the process of establishing an independent personality. Of course, establishing an independent personality and a complete self-value system is not quick. It requires constantly engaging with the world, experiencing trial and error, and making adjustments Regardless of where the arrow lands, you now possess the courage to stay in the field. Hold the bow steadily, slowly draw the string forward, and release the arrow without hesitation, forgetting the target before you. The direction in which this arrow flies